Welcome to EPG Pathshala in the subject of information technology in the paper of open source software. In the previous module, I had introduced bash shell scripting. We will continue our discussion in this module as well. So, this is the second part of bash shell scripting. This is the 14th module of the paper of open source software. Our learning objectives for this module are: we will see how to use calculations within shell scripts. There are 4 different ways of using calculations. I will explain those ways of calculations. Later, we will see how to use test conditions within the shell scripts. Then we will see how to use conditional statements like if, else and case structure in shell scripts. And finally, we will explore different loop constructs like while loop, until loop and for loop in the shell programming. So, let us begin our discussion with simple arithmetic calculations. As I said, there are 4 different ways of doing calculations, but the major problem is our shell variables are treated as strings. So, when we store value of 10 or 15 in the variables, say for example, a and b, the values of 10 and 15 are treated as string. So, by simply saying $a plus $b won't give us the addition of 10 and 15, that is to be 25. Instead, it will show 10 plus sign and 15, because 10 is treated as string and 15 is also treated as string. So, the echo $a plus $b will display the total is 10 plus sign and 15. This is the major concern while doing arithmetical calculations. Now, as I said, there are 4 ways of doing calculations. The first is using EXPR variable. The first is using EXPR command. The second is using dollar and brackets. The third is by using let command, LET, and finally, we can use BC command to perform arithmetic calculations. BC is more superior compared to the rest of the commands, because it also allows operations on floating point, that is real numbers, whereas EXPR won't allow to do calculations on floating point numbers. Now, let us see each example, how we use EXPR, how we use let command and so on. More or less the objective is same, we do the operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. There are 4 alternatives. You can select either of those. Generally, I have seen people using EXPR command to perform arithmetic operations, and in case of difficult operations which contain floating point numbers, then we use BC calculator. That is, when we use BC, we can do scientific calculations. Let us explore each of these one by one. So, while using EXPR, we can see at command prompt we can directly type EXPR 2 plus 5, the output will be 7. Even at command prompt we can type echo dollar double brackets 2 plus 5. It is one and the same, either you can use EXPR or you can use dollar with double brackets, or we can use let command, let x equal to 2 plus 5. The value of 2 plus 5 will be stored in the variable x, and then we have to display the content of variable x using echo $x command. And finally, the last line indicates how to use BC. So, the string 2 plus 5, what we call expression 2 plus 5 is piped into BC. You can see a pipe sign. We echo the expression 2 plus 5, it is piped into BC. BC will evaluate 2 plus 5 and it will display 7. So, each technique has its own way. The EXPR command simply added those values we can save the content in some other variable, say third variable can contain the content of 2 plus 5, but when we are typing at shell command there is no need. We can also use dollar and double brackets, but when we are using let, the value or the content is stored in the variable and then we have to display the value of that content. And finally, BC uses the expression, that is echo is piped into BC and BC will evaluate that expression and display the content. So, there are 4 different ways that we can use. Let us explore each technique within the shell scripts. While using EXPR, it takes 2 arguments, arg1 and arg2 are the numbers, they must be integer numbers, and there is an operator in between. The operators can be addition, that is plus, minus, multiplication or division, but we have to be careful. See the last line, when we are using multiplication sign, there has to be escape character, or else what will happen, the star will be treated as wildcard character. So, when we are using EXPR, we can simply say EXPR $a plus $b, EXPR $a minus $b, but when we use multiplication, we have to be careful to use escape sequence. Let us see how it can be explored in shell program. So, this is a shell script which performs basic arithmetic operations like addition, subtraction, division and multiplication. The script takes 2 values a and b from the user. The user will enter value of a, he will enter the value of b that are stored in the variables a and b, and then we are displaying the addition $a plus $b, we are displaying subtraction $a minus $b, $a divided by $b and finally $a multiplied by $b. As I said, multiplication sign must have escape sequence. The other point is to be noted here, the expression when it is evaluated, its value is stored in the answer variable. You can see ascent grave used over here. The ascent grave, when the command is executed, it uses command substitution and the output of this command will be stored in the answer variable, ANS variable. So, over here we have used grave ascent in all cases. Let us see another program. Over here we will be using let command, LET. So, this is how addition can be performed using let command, let variable name and we give the expression. So, let c equal to 2 plus 3, when we execute this, the value of 5 will be stored in variable c. Instead of 2 plus 3, we can also use variable names like $a and $b. So, the content of $a will be added to $b and will be stored in the value of c. This is the shell script. It is similar to the previous, but here we have replaced EXPR by let. You can see let answer equal to a plus b, answer equal to a minus b, let the variable ANS equal to a upon b and finally a multiplied by b. The main difference is in the EXPR command, we were assigning the output in the third variable ANS using grave ascent. Over here there is no need of using grave ascent, that is command substitution. We simply perform addition and store the values in ANS variable. Again you can see there is no need of $sign while using these variables a and b. Let us go further. The same program, if we use BC, it is like this, echo, then we provide the expression $a plus $b, which is piped to the BC command. One point is to be noted, I have used scale equal to 2. It means there must be up to 2 decimal points. So, if it is a floating point number, the answer will be displayed up to 2 decimal points after the dot sign. So, this is an example. If you try the BC example, you can try with the floating point numbers, that is real numbers. The previous 2 examples won't be successful if you use floating point numbers. Moving ahead, we will discuss decision making. So, in shell programming, there is a way to provide conditional statements like if, then else, if then else if, and finally case and ESEC. There are three ways of using if condition. In the first, we are providing a single condition, if condition then phi. Second, we are providing two alternatives, if condition and there is else part. In the third way, we are providing two conditions, if condition 1 then execute this part, if condition 2 that is else if condition 2 then execute this part. And when we want multiple ifs, instead of using if we can use case ESEC statements. Let us explore each notation one by one. Let us see the first way of using if. So, in this first way, you can see the syntax, if condition then set of statements followed by phi. Then we can place multiple commands after then and the if ends with phi. So, whenever we use shell scripting, if is the beginning of condition and phi is the ending of the if structure. The commands may have multiple conditions. Here you must note that we do not use semicolon or braces while using if conditions. The another form is we can use if condition then commands, there is else part, if the condition is not satisfied then the else part will be executed and these commands will be executed. The third way of using if is, if condition then there can be set of commands. We can also provide another condition using else if, that is elif. In shell scripting, elif again there is condition and then set of commands followed by phi. Now, let us see the examples of using if statement. This is a script, a very small toy script which displays whether a file has read permission or not. The file etc passwd is concatenated. So, there is cat command. If we have read permission, that is the condition if it is true over here, then we say the file can be displayed, and if the file does not have read permission, naturally it will go to the else part and we can say there is some error occurred. This is a very basic example of using if. We will see how to use if in a more structured way. When we use conditions, we can use either test command or these kind of brackets. There are two ways, either of the way is correct. So, when we want to test a particular condition, we use test keyword followed by expression, or we can use expression between the square brackets. Let us see how we can use these within the programs. First is when we use numeric test, there is EQ, NE, GT, GE, LT and LE. These are the different operators that can be supplied with the numeric comparison. So, when we are comparing two integer numbers, either we can test for equality, not equality, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, between the numbers. Let us see the shell script. In this script, the user is entering two numbers a and b. So, the values will be stored in variable a, variable b. The if condition is testing whether a is greater than b or not. You can see there are square brackets $a hyphen GT $b. This indicates we are testing the condition over here that $a is greater than $b or not. If it is true, this part will be executed, else if we test another condition and we execute this part, and finally, this part will be executed. So, this is how we can use numeric comparisons within if block. We can also use string comparison. We can compare whether two strings are equal, whether two strings are not equal, whether the string has null character or it does not have null character. So, over here instead of using EQ not equal to, we use these symbols, whether the strings are equal or not, whether it is not equal, whether the string does not contain null character. There are two ways of representing a string. If the string is assigned and it is not null, we can test using str, or if the string is not null, we can use -n str, and if the string is null, we can use -z str. Let us see a program in which we will implement all these cases. Let us consider there are two strings, one is government, the other is government. The difference is the first character. S1 stores government where G is in uppercase, S2 stores government where G is in lowercase, and we can check whether the strings are equal or not. So, there are square brackets in which we check both the strings. $S1 equals sign $S2. Now, here the point is to be noted, shell programs, they treat strings as case sensitive. So, over here S1 is not equal to S2. You can confirm with the output, these two strings will not be considered equal because one has uppercase, the other has lowercase. Moving ahead, if condition also supports file checks. We can use if condition to check whether a file exists or not, whether it is a directory, whether the file has read, write or execute permission, and whether the file has some content or it is of size 0. So, these are the different conditions that can be used within the if block. Let us see an example. In this shell script, you can see I have used if -d/etc. There is a single operator and there is one argument. If -d/etc indicates whether etc is a directory or not. So, if the condition is true, this part will be executed. Further, I am checking for another condition. I am checking whether etc passwd file has write permission or not. As we have discussed in earlier modules, this file does not have write permission to normal users. So, when you execute this if statement, the first will not be satisfied and the control will go to the else part. So, you will see the output that etc passwd file does not have write permissions. So, in this script I have shown two if conditions. The first we check for directory using -d, and the other case we check whether a file is writable or not using the -w option. So, this is how if can be used to check for numbers, strings and files. Now, when we have multiple conditions, instead of using if, we can use case ESAC structure. We can compare our variable with various patterns, pattern 1, pattern 2, pattern 3 and so on, and subsequently different commands can be executed using case ESAC structure. Future you will see this case ESAC structure is very powerful and it is a part of shell scripting. Let us explore one example. In this, the user is prompted to enter any word. The word whatever is entered by the user is stored in word variable. So, for example, if I am entering India, India string will be stored in the word variable. Then further I am checking whether the word begins with a vowel or not. So, you can see the pattern, it is in square bracket, means I will check for a single character A, E, I, O, U and star. So, if I have entered India, I is capital, then it will meet this condition and it will display that the word begins with a vowel. The first I will be matched with either of these characters within the square bracket followed by any other character star. Now, suppose if I have entered India in lower case, it will match this pattern, and instead of entering India, if I have entered Bharat, B is not a vowel. So, it will go in the third case. Star means the default case, that if the first two conditions does not match, we go to the last case, that is default, and it will display the word does not begin with a vowel or it begins with a consonant. Here you must observe there are double semicolons after each pattern. So, this is part of the syntax of case ESAC structure. The case ends with ESAC. Let us see one more example. This is another example where a user is prompted to enter a character, and we check whether the character is of lower case or is upper case, whether the character is starting with a digit or whether the character is a digit or it is a normal character. So, you can use such kind of wildcard while using case ESAC. Here it will check whether it is a lower case, whether it is upper case, whether it is lower case, whether it is upper case, whether it is digit, and finally, whether it is some alphanumeric value. So, this is how we can use if and case ESAC structure. Now, let us move ahead to the loops. Linux shell scripting supports three type of loop constructs. First is while loop. You can use while, you can use until loop, which is the reverse of while, and we can use for loop. Let us explore each loop one by one. The while loop takes this syntax: while the condition is true, a set of statements will be executed. So, these statements will be executed if the condition is true, and these statements are within the do and done keywords. Instead of braces, we use do and done when we use while loop in shell scripting. In until loop, the condition will be reversed. Let us explore. This is the shell program that uses while loop. The condition is number must be less than 10. So, over here a user will enter some number. If the number is less than 10, the loop will iterate. This is a simple loop that keeps on adding number. We initialize the number value by 0, and as the loop moves ahead, it iterates, the numbers keep on adding. So, it will be 1, 2, 3, 4, and when the condition becomes false, it will exit out of the loop. In until, the condition is reversed. So, in case of while, we check whether the condition was true. Over here, we will check whether the condition is false or not. So, until loop is a reverse of while loop. Let us see the example. Here, it is the same shell script, but I have reversed the condition. Instead of number less than 10, I have said number not less than 10. So, this is how we can use until loop. Being a programmer, you can either use while loop or until loop, it is as per your choice. Let us move to for loop. In shell scripting, for loop is different than the for loop in C or C++. Here, we take a variable name and we provide the list. The list may contain 4 values, it may contain 5, 6 values and so on. So, if there are 4 values in the list, this loop will iterate for 4 number of times. Again, as you can see, the loop begins with do and ends with done, and set of commands can be placed within the do and done keywords. Let us see how we can use for loop. This is a very basic example. I am taking the list of 3 words, word 1, word 2, word 3, and I is the variable name. So, when I say for I in word 1, word 2 and word 3, it means my loop will iterate 3 times, first for the word 1, then for the word 2 and finally for word 3. And for each iteration, the value of word will be stored in the variable I. So, when the loop iterates for the first time, it will display content as word 1. When the loop iterates second time, I will take another word, the value of word 2, and the word 2 will be echoed. And finally, in the output you can see word 3 for the last iteration. So, this is how for loop can be used, and you can see it is different from while and until loop. These for loops are also different from the traditional languages like C, C++. This is the script which shows the real power of for loop. Here I have used command substitution. So, what will happen when the script executes? First the ls command will be executed. The output of ls command will become the list. So, naturally over here it will contain the list of files. There can be one file or there can be multiple files. Files is my variable name. So, for each file in the list, my loop is going to iterate for those number of times, and I am checking whether the file exists or not. If the file exists, I am counting the number of lines within those files. So, this is a script which will output the number of lines for each file that exists in my directory. You can see I have used combination of for loop and if condition. So, within for loop I have used if condition. I am checking whether the listing has a file or a directory. If it is a directory, we do not do anything, but if it is a file, we count the number of lines for that file and it is echoed on the output. This is another example. It uses positional parameters. Positional parameters were discussed in earlier module. Over here, the first statement echo total arguments, we display the number of command line arguments. The second, we display each command line argument using $*, and in the third case we are iterating for each argument. So, this for loop will iterate those many number of times that the number of command line arguments we have supplied. $@ will evaluate into the list of arguments, and for each element the for loop is going to iterate. Here I have also checked whether the argument is a file name or not. If it is a file name, we display the number of lines for that file. You must note that I have used $@ because I do not want the list to be a single string. I want the list to be string 1, string 2, string 3, whatever command line arguments we have supplied, those number of strings must be expanded over here. So, this is a case where we use $@ instead of $*. You can experiment in this shell program. You can replace $@ with $* and you can see what difference it makes. If the file does not exist, it may show error or it may count the number of lines for a given file. Let us move ahead. This is an example of case. This example is a menu driven program. So, using case we can create let us move ahead. Let us see an example where we use menu driven program. We ask the user to enter choice. Earlier the choice is null string, then there is a loop, it will keep on iterating and the program menu will be displayed to the user. 1, 2, 3 and 0, they are the options which a user has to enter. 1 indicates display free disk space, 2 indicates display free memory, 3rd indicates display display online users, and finally, if the user enters 0, the program will exit. So, this menu will be displayed on the screen and the user is asked to enter choice. Based on the choice value, these particular operations must be performed. The operations is in next screen. You can see I have used case exec structure. If the dollar choice, that is the choice entered by user is 1, we execute df command. If the choice is 2, then we execute free command and so on. If the user does not enter either of 1, 2, 3, 0, then the execution will go to the star, that is the default pattern, and it will display the message, please enter either 1, 2, 3 or 0. So, this script is an example which we use until and case structure, both are used together. So, let us summarize what we have studied in this module. We started our discussion by showing how calculations can be performed. Calculations can be performed in 4 different ways. Then we discussed how test conditions can be done. We can check for numbers, we can compare whether 2 numbers are equal, whether it is greater than or less than. We can check for strings, whether 2 strings are equal, not equal, whether the string has null character or not. We can check for files, whether the argument is a file, whether it is a directory, whether the file is readable, writable or execute permission. And finally, we also discussed how to use these within if and case structures. We ended our discussion by loop construct. There are 3 ways of using loop. You can use either for loop, while loop or until loop. The while and until loop are very much similar to programming languages as in C, C++, Java, but the for loop is bit different. For loop takes list of arguments and it will iterate those number of times the number of arguments we have supplied. We have also seen a program in which we combine loop and if condition together. You may go through the reading notes. I have provided few extra programs in the reference notes. You can try out those programs. They are very simple programs. You can test those programs, you can test exercises and convince yourself how to use if condition, case exec and loop constructs within shell scripts. So, friends, this is the 14th module. We are in the part of second module of shell scripting. In the next module, we will discuss more complex shell scripts. I hope you enjoyed the discussion in this module. Thank you. Thank you.